Oh, how precious it is indeed. And to see all your messages coming in on our beautiful Facebook message group, and just these beautiful expressions and appreciation for the brothers and looking so deeply with Jesus. Everyone's like diving in. That's the only way to go. The only way to fly is to fly with Jesus's wings strapped on. And he's teaching us all to fly, our true expression of divine being. So at these light circles, we start with infinite light, infinite unchanging light. What doesn't change? This is an expression of willingness. All the beings we're talking about, and I'm starting to hear him, and he's telling me this, and that's willingness. As Christy said so beautifully, we were watching that Marguerite interview, or an interview. It was really a joining in light session. She was interviewing Jesus, actually. Interview Jesus. Okay, Jesus, what do I need to look at? And as Christy said so beautiful, that sentence that comes up in a new covenant, when you see how willing you truly are, you will weep. Infinite willingness. You'll see that willingness is actually infinite celebration of all that is. That's what Jesus hasn't planned. Jesus's plan. We're jumping on that Jesus plan right into heaven, this direct looking. So yeah, thank you for these expressions, and just remind me, because we will try to answer the questions and just hear, because we can all hear what Jesus says. And it's just really, you see those reflections in the circles. So a number of you are sharing how you're feeling more expanded. What we're doing is letting what was contracted fall away. The desire for the experience of the shoebox, jamming ourselves in a shoebox. And as that falls away, you feel the lightness of being. And it's helpful to remember, feel the light, notice the light. It has no limits on it, infinite. So that he starts with the light, so then we can distinguish, okay, am I playing in consciousness and feeling small, or expansive through my choice to feel contracted? This is really helpful to remember. It's a falling away of the old to untrue. That the expansiveness is our natural state. It's not like a place that we just are going to visit. It's where we're alive. It's where we're totally alive with all the gifts of the Father. It's the resurrection, as he's promised right here. So Thekla, I hope I'm saying your name right, beloved. She wrote in and mentioned beautifully, these are beautiful things that you're sharing, that you're hearing from Jesus. It became clear to me that there were multiple desires. In my case, I was shown the desires that involve being separate, desire to deny my divinity. This is like go to church with Jesus. The desire to be sick and in pain, to be a victim, to be special, the desire for illness and death, to demonstrate my equal in it, maybe investment in it. Maybe I'm okay to cherish cherish. See, this is how you know Jesus is talking. She was asking me, is Jesus talking? Ego's not going to admit all this. To cherish the desire for fear of disease and death, not being able to hear the voice of the Holy Spirit, the desire not to hear the voice. We've all been hearing that one, because the first thing Jesus will start talking to you about when the opening is there is why you're afraid of him. But if we're too afraid to ask him to tell us all the reasons, we can't be helped. So beautiful. Not being able to hear, desire not to hear the voice, desire to remain enveloped in loneliness, desire to be excluded, isolated, desire to become a victim, the desire to postpone, to undo my completion, desire to have, not to have peace. This is what he's if we just take the step with him, and you can see it in Marguerite's video, how all of us, it's not just like one being, it's like all of us have, because this is the voice of God that Jesus promises, you're that. So he's just going, listen to me and I'm going to show you, and he will fulfill that promise. You just need to give him like a little inch at a time. Then you're going to want to see, you're going to give him the whole enchilada. You know, but when you start handing things over, don't just give them a little tiny piece of the stick. Give them the, you know, that's what we want to do. I want to just, you start to hand over those scissors where you're poking your eyes out, you know, but you still, no, don't, no. You have to even ask them whether you're holding on to the scissors, because we don't know. Because we don't know, we're holding on to those scissors. That's why he's saying, and you watched it with Marguerite, and you're watching it with our brothers, where we're still, I'm going to hold on just a little bit longer. So he has to point that out. Are you ready for a miracle? Am I ready for a miracle? No. Jesus goes, he doesn't say it that strong, you know, but he, no, because we're willing to listen with that level of acuity. Not a miracle yet, because let me show you what's under that. He just takes us down all the way. Let that energy rise up. So it's really beautiful. If I did not receive the message correctly, that's a pretty direct message. So just, you know, just be with him. Just make sure that you ask him and make sure, because the ego will kitchen sink it. We're laughing. It will throw everything in. Okay. It's going to throw everything. Here's all the things you've done and why you're wrong. See, Jesus will, if you spend a long session with him, you might observe these things. He might show them to you. But remember, Jesus is never the one who makes you afraid. He doesn't, it's not in his manual. If you read the light manual, so we're going to have the light manual, and then we're going to have the, you know, who other, the hashtag I equals death manual. In fact, I've started a little sheet that I'll share with you. Jesus translates what we say with what the ego's really saying and what we really desire. In columns. I feel sad. I desire and experience feeling sad. It's really simple. Easy. And then Jesus gives a little explanation. So we'll share that with you. So what I would say is, if you're not sure on these things too, you can join, call to join. You know, if you're, that's why the joining is given so we can have abject clarity that the light's speaking to us and that we're hearing the light correctly. And then work, the ego will try to get involved. That's its function. We've all seen it because we want the play. We forgot how badly we want to play is more than with the many. So you can see how he's teaching, stay honed in on the itch and do one thing at a time with them. Because the ego is going to start throwing up all, you know, throwing stones in the bush, and just go confirm with them. It's like, Jesus, is this what you want me to look at? And confirm it. Because the ego will, it's going to try to put a plethora of sideways in it. And you could see how he's fine tuning with Marguerite and showing her how to just stay really honed in on the desire for the experience and let it clear, and then just stay with that one until he says you're done. Okay, just stay with that and just say, Jesus, is there any more this desire? Let's just, if they take one of these. But I mean, it's helpful if you see it and you still feel light. But if you're feeling like you're still carrying a truckload around, that won't be Jesus. Okay. You'll feel clear. It'll be cleared out if you're talking to him and really listening and admitting, okay, you're right, Jesus, I have that desire. And it'll be clear. So to be a victim, to be special. So you could just might spin, you say, okay, Jesus, now I've seen a lot of things here. What's most helpful to look at out of this, you know, out of all this. So, because he'll really make it simple and he'll bring you right to the it factor, where the crux is. As long as we just keep asking him, okay, Jesus, show me, what I need to see. So you'll just continue to feel these, because we're having a sense. Gee, there's so much love in this, of love as it is, whole and complete. That's what it's like Muji says, it's reacclimation to formlessness. We're so used to running around like an object, like a dartboard. These darts are hitting me. Where are they coming from? I don't understand all these thoughts. These thoughts, I feel like I'm being, ow, eat, oh. How do we all know this? Because there's only one ego. There's not, it's consciousness playing. That's how we all know these things. God, ow, ow, ow. But what's happening is that we're becoming more acutely aware of the denial. And we're also seeing how badly, oh, Jesus, I need you. Where are you? Okay, yes. How to go straight up. And you saw he just maps the whole thing out, draws Marguerite a diagram. Here it is. And you want this. And then that's for everyone. That's not just, you can just watch all the videos and see, like, when the light comes in, it's just this really clear. And you'll also notice that there's nobody at the end of those sessions after they talk to Jesus that's unhappy. So the light circles, again, we're just focusing. If you focus on light long enough, there's no way not to see your it. So that's what the light circles are for. We're just focusing on light and giving over to the priority to see that we're light. That kind of focus, it definitely takes that, he says. It takes a focus on what's true, because we're so habituated to the N-O. No, I don't want to be light. Who put it down here? Let's see if I can find where that was. Praises be. So, and then Teresa writes beautifully, so is what Tassie said true for all of us, unless we still desire to deny that we're always in the lap of God. Let's ask the light. Yes, it will become a consistent experience. That's what he's promising. Just look with him easily at denial. To sit with him and be with denial. Okay, you're right. Be with the no. That's another no, Jesus. I admit it. I'm saying no. See, we're so confused. The play in consciousness is to be so confused we don't even know when we're saying no. So we need him to tell us. Am I saying no again, Jesus? Yes, you are. Okay, so we're going to come back over here. Is there anything else that I need to keep me straight here that was being asked?
Teresa's earlier question.
Oh, yeah, Teresa asked something earlier. To see if I can find it.
2:50 a.m.
2:50. Go back to that. That was in the message group?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I saw it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, this is a good one. Okay. I love it. I heard exactly what Jesus wanted me to hear. And let's just make sure on all of this that we're not doing any comparison about who can hear Jesus better. Okay. Either. That would be, yeah, Jesus wouldn't want that. He wants to talk to you directly. As he says, everyone can hear as clear as Helen. So, okay, so we're coming back here. I heard exactly what Jesus wanted me to hear, which is so beautiful, especially the part about being a better waker upper, the need to get it right. We've all played this play, the need to get it right. I just saw that too with Jesus as well. It's like, oh, I'm going to be the best spiritual awakening person. How good. So that's part of the doer, right? That little doer. I admit I really desire this experience as if it were possible. And now I'm seeing that's what all the writing is about. I'm running out of paper. I admit the desire to need to remember so much, which feels like a way of avoiding guidance here and now. I feel panicky if I don't write, and I don't want to admit that. I'm beginning to see how crazy this is because I hardly ever read what I wrote. So, as usual, the best approach to all these things is to join with Jesus so that he has the spaciousness to point out what's most helpful. Sometimes it is writing. Like, for instance, like when I just started typing, I had no idea about the book or anything. I just start typing. And then it's for me. And a lot of times the typing is actually the way we can learn to start communicating with him. I'd type a question to him and then I'd type his answer. I'd type a question and type an answer. So some of you may have this experience. So we just go back to Jesus. The ego will use anything in excess. It's its favorite thing to do, anything to deny. So all we have to do is just go to the one who knows. Say, Jesus, what's most helpful, like right now? And then he'll help us come to it. It could be writing, it could be talking to him, it could be jumping on a phone call with one of our mighties. As beautiful Marguerite said when Jesus gave her the talk about, I arrange time and space for you. He's saying that to all of us through Marguerite. I'm in charge of the atonement. I'll arrange time and space. And it's again a reinforcement of what he was saying earlier about what he told Helen. I can see why he brought me right to look right in the text at that. When he was right after he helped her buy that coat, and he said, I can help you with a number of things. I have better use of time. Let me handle the minutia. And this is his better use of time. The best use of time is focused on, because she, Marguerite expressed the concern about, can I spend this much time? Look, yes, let's ask Jesus. And then he handles the rest of it. Our only function is expression of divinity. He'll handle the rest of it. Ask him, Jesus, in the light of divine being, if I'm focused here on listening to you and following you and looking at denials, will you take care of everything? In fact, if we don't step back from some of those things, we never get to see how they're handled by him. And then he'll give you the prompts when it's time. Okay, you need to do this. The practical, just ask him to. Say, Jesus, will you tell me? I do that all the time. If I need to do this, will you remind me exactly when I'm right in because the ego, you'll notice, gives out assignments. Walking down the street, you need to buy this, this, and this. And I could see it. I was always looking, okay, do I need to buy something while I'm out? And I could see like kind of that little scarcity play. And it was restful to go to Jesus. And do I need to think about? No. They're just kind of relax, walk along. He's going to tell me. We can't be here while we're just constantly, what am I needing to do right now? He's saying, who are you needing to be right now? Just notice those little body jobs that the ego likes to give you, little assignments. And I always check in. Am I to do this? Because I'll just walk away if so I didn't hear him so well. And I check in and I'm in the middle of something. Am I to be doing this? He says, no, okay, drop it. Oh, even so, I need help, Jesus. Oh, she's calling for all of us. I seem to feel the intense desire to experience a backup safety plan. Okay, we just ask him, Jesus, show me where is there a desire for a backup safety plan?
Plan B.
He says, you use that not to follow me. Use those things as an excuse to follow me. It's like Rita said, about, I think it was a dog, right? And she she knew it. She could see it, right? She went out and she bought all this stuff for a dog. But she didn't get the dog because she knew that was like a distraction. It was a block.
Yeah.
She's willing to see, no, that's a block. That was one of the backup plans so that, and you'll hear that from so many beings. Well, what am I going to do with my cat if I go in? Or what am I going to do with my dog? Jesus will take care of it. Ask him if you go into spiritual community or whatever he's asking you to do. He's not asking you to do anything, really, but it seems like he is, because we're so used to doing. He's teaching you how to undo who you think you are through doing, seemingly to do, until you see there's no one doing anything. That's pretty funny. Some fear of missing something. These are beautiful, and without exhausting effort, I'm going to be left behind. I'm not sure if I'm willing to give this up, but I'm willing to have a change of perspective. That's just the beautiful expression of willingness. And so each one, you can write these things down and then just sit with Jesus. Okay, Jesus, now out of this whole list, what's most helpful for me to look at? Because he knows how to go in there and then it could collapse the whole thing. He knows, again, where those little bones are buried in there, and it could collapse the whole, everything. Just as I've said, incubating and with the itch, wanting. I really want it. You could see him correct. You see, if we're open to the correction, you'll see how he's going to tell you you're not really releasing that desire. That's the kind of coaching which is really phenomenal. The best surgeon in the world to excise personal identity. So I just want to mention that as we talked about the group, it's just to be really mindful that the group is not so much for social sharing as it is for really these expressions. Okay, here's what I'm seeing with Jesus. Here's what he's telling me. It's really beautiful, to keep the focus on that and joining. And we just posted out, I think I might have mentioned it this morning. We just posted out on the Joining Light Brigade a bulletin board. And the bulletin board is what Jesus told me. It's helpful because we're hearing them and then we're speaking. It's not for anyone to put, it's because it's what's most helpful. Jesus said, practice hearing me and speaking. Like, saw how Marguerite was listening and speaking it. And even while admitting, I don't want to hear him. And we could just see this and, we don't want to hear him, but we really can. It's so beautiful. And then, on the bulletin board, you can go in if Jesus told you something and, it's helpful. Just go in there and type it in there in the comments. This is what I'm hearing from Jesus. This is what he's telling me I need to see. And then we'll probably have one similar bulletin board for when you're joining. Here's what here's what is helpful for me to see, showed me in that when we joined. And seeing the power of this joining with our mighties. So we're talking a little bit about that comfort zone. He's saying, yes. He has more to say, Jesus? Yes, he does. This is stepping out the comfort zone, the joining. Because the ego likes its little comfort fiefdom. A fiefdom of nothingness, as Jesus calls it. And so it's been, again, really encouraging everyone to just step in together and join, even if you don't want to join. And he tells you just, because unless we're really, that's the true use of denial, to deny the ego, and it's trust that and faith that there's more to you than the idea you have of yourself. That's where faith, that's why he just points to faith and trust. Because that always goes in. It's going into the faith and having more, in seeing faith that there's more here than the idea that we think we have about being separate. And it was beautiful because he told Marguerite, see, even the ego can use trust and faith and build a box around it and a concept about trust and faith. Trusting in other. And Jesus said to her, perfect, as you know, what can we say? We can't argue with the one with the plan. You are trust itself. See in the light of divine being, does the light of divine being actually even recognize trust? See, there's the trust of the idea, just like the ego has an idea of love. It has an idea of what trust is. Trust in me, trust in death. Trust is identity. That's why trust will settle every problem. It's true identity. And you heard it come right out. See, Jesus is going to tell you so that it lives in your heart. You know, it lives here rather than the conceptual. That's what he's offering through these light circles and through this joining sessions, to see that we're life itself. Infinite, unchanging light itself. That what is. And to get direct tutoring from the one who knows, who's transcended fully, full transcendence. One-on-one tutoring. That sounds really good. This is the meaning of the statement, you can do anything I ask because you're no different than me. See, we want to toe dip that. We want to toe dip divine being and play in a world like we're little and small and something's missing and we're not powerful, infinite beings. That's why we need him, like with his hand right here on that shoulder. Okay, Jesus. And just take it one little step at a time. This is the only true comfort, the comfort and infinite joy of honoring the expression of divinity. Looking carefully at the desire to do battle with the Holy Spirit. Oh, right. Good. So let's just ask him, Jesus, do I have any desire to do battle with you? It can be very subtle. Here it was, but Jesus, but Jesus, but I'm going to put that in that little sheet. But Jesus. And And we're going to put some of those ego terms in there for sure. But it's good to see, but got an assistant. Um, it's good to see the distractions. Innocence. It's good to see those no's. Like Marguerite is so straight on. I'm going to be, this is honesty of God. Honesty of God is going, I really don't want to talk to you, Jesus. I do not want to talk to you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. And then sitting with that energy, and I certainly did. You know, I could see that, oh, and just sitting with it until it burns out like an old lamp. As this is the desire to do for the experience of a battle with yourself. See, when you really see who you're battling with, where the battle is with it's not actually happened, but it's a dream of a battle. And you see who's whacking who. It doesn't go as fast. I mean, it doesn't last as long. I guess I want to say that it goes a lot faster with Jesus, because then you can just fully focus. You don't tolerate as much that mind wandering. You don't tolerate it. You come right back to it. No, I'm not going there. I want to hear what Jesus has to say. I want to release this desire. And then you just focus full on desire. Okay, Jesus, give me the next one. As fast as he can deliver them out. Do I still want that? Can you show me? Like uncompromising. You believe without the ego, all would be chaos. Thus, you desire an experience of maintaining the ego in the false experience of avoiding chaos while actually creating the experience of chaos. Feel the rip on that one. Jesus, there's a desire in there to create chaos. To experience chaos while feeling like the ego will prevent chaos. If it's anywhere in there, I'm giving it over. Just sit with it. You sit in Jesus's little desire incubator to just toast that out. The itch. Just be with the itch and let him show you the itch. This is a desire to be lost in the dream of chaos. He's so direct. Let's just see how much we want chaos through an ego. Doesn't it all feel chaotic unless we're in the light as the light? See that the light, does the light know what chaos is? It doesn't know that. It's like the light, simple, light. Let there be light. See how simple that is? Light. Is anything other than light chaos? Oh, that's a question. In the light of divine being, is anything other than pure light chaos? The light doesn't know what chaos is. So now we have the contrast. This is the desire to be lost in the dream of chaos. Jesus, is there any desire to be lost in the dream of chaos? And then you sit with them and keep going until he says, and you ask him and you go, Jesus, is there any more a desire to be lost in a dream of chaos? And he tells you no, but you'll already know because you're already really happy. He cleared it out. He's clearing out. He's taking out continents with these. desires. Divine nature, the natural state of being, does not understand chaos. See, it's unintelligible. Light's just unintelligible. You start seeing just these old things that used to register on the Richter scale. You don't know. You can't. It's like I don't know what that is. It'll be like that. I mean, like he says, you forget. You're happily oblivious. Let's see. Do we know what chaos is? When you get oblivious of the body, you're onto something right there. You won't even give it a thought. Like, then you look and you're going, I don't know what that is. You really realize you really don't know what a body is. Like, you don't have a clue. I don't have a clue about, you did, wait, I thought I knew what that was, but then it's like you feel erased. That's the whole point. When you start feeling erased, take a big pin out. See, the thoughts fall away. That's why you feel expansive, because thoughts, by their function within consciousness, is to build a little box. They're a little box constructor, little constructor of thoughts, little desires. You believe you must understand it, divinity, or it is not real. Okay, let's look at that deeply, because we can see in the light of divine being, is the light trying to understand something? Oh, that's a good one to give over to Jesus. Trying to understand anything. It just hurts. It just, and that's the great thing about working with them, because you'll start to catch it earlier, and you can ask them, Jesus, invite him in. Jesus, will you let me know? Help me have reminders. Can you be my little reminder alarm that I'm trying to pretend like I'm dreaming? Ask them. Will the light remind you? The light alarm. Okay. You believe you must understand it, divinity, or it is not real. That's how the ego works. Thus, you have a desire of attempting to understand divine nature in order to miscreate the experience that divine nature, what is most natural to you, is unreal. That the light is unreal. This is all, as each one of these is a great one to go through. Just sit down with Jesus. You can see how you start to notice how consciousness is making infinite expansion unreal when it's the only thing that's real. So the other thing, that the other play in consciousness, and you see that, and I'll talk about it because it just seems to be consistent. I'm asking Jesus, yes, talk about, yes, I'm so expanded. A lot of times that's the spaciousness for these things to come up. They're just coming up to be looked at. As long as we don't go into interpretive function. It was so expansive. I lost it. That whole thing, it can be lost. They're shaking. A number of you going, right, because we see it. So I lost it. Desire to experience loss. See, if you let him interpret every time you feel, I feel X, I have a desire to feel X, it'll bring you right back with him. I have the desire, oh, I feel X. Isn't that interesting? Or, like Tatsy, this is an interesting little thing going on here without getting involved in it. So we don't have to be so involved in it. Ask Jesus. Do we have to be involved in all this kerfuffling in consciousness? No. Does the light get involved? No. Like the light's just the light. That's what we are. We're just the light. And then Jesus will tell us what we need to say or what needs to happen next. And then we go with it. Thus, you desire an experience of attempting to understand divine nature. Jesus, is there any desire for an experience of understanding divine nature? Trying to get a handle on it. You can hear those things. I need to get a handle on it. I just don't understand. It's understanding is actually a function in consciousness to create doubt. Trying to understand something is a flip, is not to understand. I desire to understand means I desire not to understand, to deny who I am. For an experience where I don't know who I am. Well, you really see how we need Jesus to decode all this, the unbreakable code. In the light of divinity, see that this is impossible. Divine nature can only be recognized and accepted as it is whole and complete. It's just, this is all there is. Light. No extra decorations on light. So it's merely ceasing to deny. You believe specialness is heaven and not hell. Let's ask Jesus, is there a belief that specialness is heaven? I'm willing to see it. Any energy around that? And just see it for the experience here. It just gets to be, okay, there it is. Yawn. Yawn out the tension. See that Jesus isn't judging anything at all. It's okay. That's appearance and consciousness. It's not personal. That will, fear will rapidly, if I'm just having, yes, you spend time looking at desire with Jesus. I mean, you will not, you just, fear is lost. You can't find it. Because it's driven by desire to experience it. And if he's taken out all the desires, all the legs under, what happens when you take the legs underneath the table? It doesn't stand anymore. So it's, as Teresa wrote in her thing, what she wrote about, if we're sitting on the lap of God, all we have to do, he takes out, there is just God. And then pretending there's not God. And then Jesus will just let him cut all the legs off the table. So you see that you're sitting there. We're trying to hold God as arm's length, which is impossible because we're already light. It's like too late, we're tagged. You believe specialness is heaven and not hell. Thus, you desire an experience of feeling special as the path to salvation, which is hell. Superior to yourself with a capital S, that wanting to be superior. So I just would sit with them. Oh, Jesus, I just feel I want to, I want to be superior. I just want it. So we're with the wanting of it rather than the trying to toss it out. Like a boomerang, it comes back. Instead of tossing out, just like be with the wanting. I want to be special. I want it. I just want it. I want it with every bit of energy I ever could put into it. Every cell's on fire to be special. Thus you desire an experience of specialness to maintain the experience of hell. And Jesus, thank you for showing me that. It may arise, right? And then if it arises, then I know what to do. Jesus, help me. I need to see through it. There's perfect happiness being denied right here. And then we no longer deny perfect happiness from ourselves anymore. Infinite light shining as it is. It's a good deal. Jesus. It's the best deal in consciousness, the best deal of all, to hold his hand and go all the way to unborn awareness with clarity and specificity. As he says, I didn't understand that, boy. He brought me to the Erd text. I didn't understand what he was talking about. I was like, Jesus, doubt, right? Jesus, why am I reading about precision? Let's see, what's he showing me? Accuracy. Like, why? I don't understand. He was giving this talk to Helen, and I can see why he was doing that, because they're both scientists, so they can understand how precise what he was talking about in terms of the precision that he's offering and effectiveness. He was talking about effectiveness, efficiency and effectiveness. To be efficient, and he goes right to and that's what he's offering when we listen to him. Just thank you, Jesus. Go for perfect happiness. Hashtag supreme happiness for all of us. Happy hologram. Amen. Happy hologram. Love you.